This is episode 58 with Anson Ross Thompson and Jenny Dils Durr.
Welcome to Spot On Insurance. Join us each week as we speak to insurance professionals, attorneys, regulators, and compliance specialists on topics ranging from improving your agency to staying on the right side of the law. Subscribe and stay informed on the effects of new trends and disruptive emerging technologies on your businesses and your industry.
My first guest is Anson Ross Thompson, who goes by the title of Insurance Ninja at the Thompson Group. He is a sales trainer and the author of 8 books on subjects ranging from life, personal responsibility, and managing conflict. Spot On is also graced with the presence of Anson's life and business partner, Jenny Dils Durr, best known as the Insurance Queen, who serves as CEO for the agency. Jenny joined the group in 2012 when Thompson merged with the Indianapolis office of RMD Patty, an agency based in Richmond, Indiana. Welcome to Spot On Insurance.
Thanks for having us, guys. Appreciate the opportunity to chat.
Awesome. I've been looking forward to this chat. And I'm going to start with you, Anson. I want you to take our listeners through your insurance journey.
Okay. I got a graduate degree from Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, the Harvard of Muncie, Indiana. It's where Dave Letterman went, and graduated with a degree, undergrad in insurance, and a graduate degree in information and communication sciences. I left school. My father had a small home auto farm insurance agency in beautiful Parker City, Indiana, a town of about 1,600 people.
Oh, wow.
I went back and started working with my father. I looked at that opportunity to work with my father as really working from a foundation. So I looked at my father's business as something that I could definitely grow. As a second generation agency owner, I didn't want to just replicate. I wanted to expand and build upon what he had. And so I got into the agency, hired my first employee in 1996. I joined the agency in 92. After 4 years, my father at 55 years old came in and said, I'm going to retire. And so as a young man at 26 years old, not knowing anything, what I was doing, I started buying my first company. And at that time, it was called Thompson Insurance. Hired my first employee who's still with me today. She's my CFO. And we, at that time, as I said, we were a small home auto farm. And I found quickly that I really enjoyed commercial insurance. And so very soon after buying the agency, I had a young man join me. His name's Ron Shoemaker. He loved personal insurance. That's what he loved to do, agriculture. So Ron took over the reins of kind of managing the personal insurance. And I kind of started doing B2B, manufacturing, restaurants, construction, things like that. And we grew the agency. I owned it by myself for 15 years. And it was after about 15 years, I met Jenny. We had been working together before, but we decided to put our businesses together and then our agencies together. And so we did that, I believe, 6 or 7 years ago. And at that time, we kind of renamed our entity to Someday Is Today LLC, doing business as the Thompson Group. And today, we have 2 locations in Indiana, and we have 2 locations in Denver, Colorado. We, every week, get on an airplane and fly between our homes, which we have a home in downtown Indianapolis, Indiana, and we also have a condominium in downtown Denver, Colorado. We came to Colorado on January of 16. We did not know anybody out here. Jenny allowed me to come out 1 week a month and start the agency from scratch. By May of 16, we had found an agency to buy. That was the intent. We bought an agency. We closed March of 17. And today we are doing very well. We have 4 employees total out here in Colorado. And we have 15 or 16 back in the Midwest. We have employees in Louisville, Kentucky, Parker City, Indiana, Bloomington, Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, Chicago, Toronto. We've definitely figured out how to utilize people all over the country to help support our team. Just a couple final points. Our corporate vehicle is a 1970 VW bus wrapped in tie-dye. Our mission statement is 9 words. It's find the pain, heal the pain, show the love. So that's my story, and then I'll turn it over to my queen and let her share her story.
I love it. So Jenny, what an amazing story. You guys must rack up the miles with going back and forth every week. How cool is that? I want you to share with our listeners how you entered the insurance world and also kind of like when you decided that it was a lifelong endeavor.
Well, I graduated from college and I took an outside sales job, and I actually sold chemicals and solvents to factories, machine shops, businesses of all kinds, and did that for quite a while. My father, Jenny Dils, approached me and he said, "Sis, you're making money for someone else." And he wanted me to join the agency, but at the time, that was going to mean moving back to Richmond, Indiana. And although I love Richmond, Indiana, I really loved Indianapolis, Indiana more. So what we did is we started a scratch office. Gosh, that's been about 20 years ago now. And we took it from there. I mean, we grew that office to a very respectable size, over $1 million of revenue. And, again, as Anson Ross said, we met, we connected, we realized that we were very similar. And the way we worked was very similar. So make a long story short, I bought my office, I merged it with the Thompson Group, and the rest is history.
And it sounds like both of you entered the insurance. I mean, definitely, Anson, you went to college for insurance. So you knew at an early age that this is what you wanted to do. And one other thing that I find amazing is that your dad, Anson, was actually stepped out at 55. And I think I read somewhere that maybe he started the business in 1973, because so many people from that era would stay on for a long, long time. So he left early to enjoy his life and allow you to take on the reins. So that's really, really amazing. So you guys know that Ted and I run our business together, and we've been doing so for about 20 years. Anson, question for you. What challenges have you faced in working with your life partner?
It's actually very, very joyful. I know when people meet us, and one of the things they always say is, boy, I probably couldn't work with my spouse. It's at this point that I will say, we are not married. We're very happy. We own the company together. We own all of our homes together. If we were to break up, it would be very, very, very confusing and an entanglement that would be not very fun. But with that being said, I love my partner more than anything. We enjoy working together. We enjoy living together. You're right. We do have a lot of miles racked up. She flies for free every time we fly. She's got a companion pass with Southwest. And from a challenge standpoint, I think the only challenge we faced is talking about the company all the time. We have to be very aware that at some point in the evening, we need to shut that down and really focus on each other and not some of the opportunities or some of the strategy sessions that we have. So I think that's the only downside, that we really enjoy each other, but we enjoy our company. I mean, we're building something very, very cool, and we know it. To quit talking about it at 9 o'clock at night, I mean, that's probably our biggest issue, is just talking about our company on a continuous basis.
We go through the same thing. It's pretty amazing to hear that, because we both received the exact same questions. As a matter of fact, some of the comments we've heard were like, well, if I worked with my wife or if I worked with my husband, I'd probably end up choking him by the end of, in a month or so if I worked with him every day. And we're like, well, Arlene and I have been married about 36 years. We tell them, well, we simply decided to marry a friend, somebody who we actually liked instead of somebody who, we may not like.
And there are definitely a lot of benefits to running a business together, because it's like you're both focused on the same goals, right? So it's not like you're coming home at the end of the day from two different jobs and, going on to your personal lives. You're just focusing on growing that business, what wonderful things you can do. And to me, I feel that the benefits definitely outweigh the challenging times when you don't agree on certain directions or, you just learn to respect each other's strengths and just focus on what can we do? What great things can we accomplish together?
Do you guys find this something similar to what we go through? And that is that sometimes when we disagree on something, what happens is we debate it for a while, and I do mean debate, and then we end up maybe getting something even better as a result of us talking about it in a positive way and trying to find out what the best solution is, rather than, hey, I have this position and you have that position. Do you guys go through that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Anson and I both have different talents that complement each other. And the other thing that I think is important is that to know that, we're not together all the time. We each have very large, respectable commercial, book of business. And so we have our own clients, separate clients, together clients. But I guess my point is it means that we're not together all the time. And Anson's talents are, I call him the rainmaker. He attends a lot of networking groups. We are meeting new people every single day. He's the big picture guy, and I'm the implementation detail person. We're both really good salespeople, but operationally we have different talents, which again complement each other.
To add to that, I can just say my brother, because that's the exact same way that we work.
Yeah,
it's really I'm the big picture, and she's like implementation all the way.
The details,
right?
Details.
And if we disagree, sometimes maybe we'll bring in our business coach, because we do have business coaches. We recognize that we don't know everything. And sometimes it's nice to have another set of eyes maybe on your financials or, some of your operational procedures. And so I think that is another really important lesson that we've learned over the years is to seek the help of other experts and learn from, their knowledge.
Absolutely. I do have one question. Your agency owner titles are the Insurance Ninja and the Insurance Queen, as we've heard. How did you get these titles? Come on.
Great question. I became the Insurance Ninja because I didn't include the story, but after 15 years, I merged my agency with Jenny's agency. And at that time, there were 5 owners. I was doing some sales training for this agency. And it just made sense at the time to bring my agency into their fold. And after 6 months, we realized we had all made a mistake. And that's what prompted Jenny and I to kind of take our agencies and put them together. With that being said, about 3 months into the relationship, I was called out by one of my partners. My signature never changed. Even when I merged, no one really knew that I had partnered with another agency. We were in the process of rebranding. And so I had my signature on my email, and my signature said, as it always had, Anson Ross Thompson, CEO, the Thompson Group. And so I get a call from one of my partners one day, and he said, "Hey, man, you're not the CEO." And I said, "Yes." He said, "You have to update your email signature." And I'm like, "Okay, well, what is my title?" And he said, "You can be anything you want." I said, "I can be anything I want." It was at that moment I decided that I am the Insurance Ninja.
Love it.
How did you become a queen?
Well, Anson Ross Thompson is the one who started calling me the queen. So it just stuck. And, again, after listening to that story, because I do think that is a funny story, titles are just titles, really. I mean, we've always kind of made fun of some of the titles that we see on business cards. And as usual for the Thompson Group, we're just different. And, we have lots of points of differences. And one is that, he's the insurance ninja and I'm the insurance queen. We don't need to be the COO and the CEO and the CFO. I mean, really, it just doesn't matter. And we like ninja and queen better, quite frankly.
I love it. Love it. Love it. So, we were talking to you guys before we went on the air that we were doing an earlier podcast. And as so many of our podcasts, we do a lot of podcasts on regulatory compliance, and a lot of it is very heady stuff. And we have tons of agency owners and insurance professionals that listen to us weekly. And one of the reasons that we wanted to have you guys on is because you just seem to be having such an amazingly wonderful time in the insurance industry. And oftentimes it seems that we're just always focusing on efficiency, revenue, growth, and then repeat the whole cycle again. So I want to just talk to you guys about a little bit of some of the things that I've read about you guys. One is you refuse to quote. So talk to us a little bit about that.
We don't quote. We have Jenny and I have been, working together now for a few years, and before we met each other, we were kind of doing the same process. So many insurance agents want to walk into a business and say, "Hey, I want to give you a quote. I want to save you 10%," and they really focus on that price. And our approach is completely different. In that, our first appointment is all about, one of three things is going to happen. At the end of today's meeting, I might tell you you're not a fit for our company. And since I'm willing to do that, the second thing that could happen is you might tell us we're not a fit, and that's fine. But the third thing that could happen after today's meeting is we will leave with your entire insurance portfolio. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a risk management analysis. We're going to go through and comb through the exact program that you have. And in our next meeting, we're going to come back and we're going to show you on a very large piece of paper every coverage that you have, but we're also going to point out some of the gaps that you may or may not know about. And it's at that second meeting where we say, okay, here's your coverages. You're paying $138,000 for these coverages. You do not have this, this, and this. And if we were to include that, our pricing would probably be about $142,000. We get a commitment to hit that budget. And then we go out, we have this amazing marketer. We have a couple actually in the company, and they work with the markets to develop the best program. The agent then gets all the information back and we go present. And, if we can hit 132,000 and we told them 140, more power to us. But our sales approach is not to save people money. In fact, a lot of times people pay us more because we've educated them so much about what they really need. We find a lot of clients are overinsured for our process, underinsured. We ask questions like, how does the hashtag Me Too movement impact your business? And what kind of coverages do you have that maybe might apply to that? So that's our approach. It's a 3-step process. I've written about it. I'm a writer. I give away as much knowledge as I can because I am really trying to change the industry. When people hear the word insurance, they think, oh my gosh. Well, if you manage it, I think the way we manage it, and you teach it the way we teach it, it's a beautiful thing. It's a wonderful thing. It's not something that should be shunned. It's something that should be embraced. So we do not work. We live. We do not have jobs. What we do is we simply live. And part of living is taking care of our insurance clients.
That's kind of a different business model than a lot of insurance agents out there that might be just going for, let's say, employee benefits, and they're targeting that. You're going in there and looking at everything, which is wonderful because I know it's cumbersome to have your insurance coverages through different brokers. So now you're offering them a one-stop shop. Can you talk to us a little bit about how sometimes that prospect might not be a good fit for you?
Yeah, I think that in that first meeting, that's when we make that determination. So personally, I think that first meeting is the most important meeting because that's the meeting where, you want to determine, is this someone that I can work with? We're a relationship-based agency. We need to like the person on the other end of the table. We need to trust the person on the other end of the table. And if we don't, we'll figure out a way to sidestep that client, maybe tell them, look, it doesn't look like we have a market for you, or, we'll do it very diplomatically and nicely. But, the relationship is by far the most important piece of what we do. And all of that happens in that first meeting.
It harkens me back to a story that we have from this year's Christmas banquet where our GM says we go out with Ted and Arlene all the time and bring in clients, but they never sell. And they tell me, don't go out there trying to sell. Go out there to make friends and build relationships. the rest will fall into place. And I don't know, people don't understand that. They go in and they're like in shock. In fact, we've gone in and actually flown into Chicago to meet a client, sat down in front of that client. Right before we sit down, he says, "I'm sorry, but last week we just signed a document with your competitor." And we said, "Wow, we're really sorry to hear that. We're sorry because we didn't inform you, we forgot," so on and so forth. And Arlene and I said, "Well, I'll tell you what, let's just sit down and talk. We're here anyway. Give us an hour and a half. We just chit-chat and see where it goes from there." We said, "We understand, business is gone, but we want to learn more about you and what your needs are," and so on and so forth. We talked for about 2.5 hours, and he turns around to his assistant. He says, "Well, what are we going to do?" And the guy says, "Just tear up the contract." And they actually became a client because we weren't there. They knew we were not there to sell them anything at that point. They knew, hey, we're going to tell you about what your needs are, what we can do for you. And they actually found out that we could do so much more than the person they had signed the previous contract with. So yeah, for us, it's all about building relationship.
Well, if you go to our website, the Thompson Group website, you'll see all of our faces, and you'll get a feel of who we are and what we're about. And I will tell you, my partner, the Insurance Ninja, is a brilliant marketer. And one of our marketing pieces is a guitar pick. It's a purple guitar pick. It has our logo on one side, and on the other side, it says, "We pick our clients."
I love it.
So that's pretty simple, but we do. We pick our clients because we want the best of the best. And if you take a look at our books of business, by carrier, carriers give you reports not just based on production, but also loss ratios. So that's premium versus claims. And all of our loss ratios are unbelievably low because we only write the best of the best because we pick our clients.
How's technology playing a role now in the work that you're doing? Arlene and I have been going to a lot of conferences, technology conferences, and they're talking about more and more people don't want to talk to anybody. What they want to do is just go on their cell phones and just, fill in a few points of information and then get their policies or do whatever it is that they need. 1, 2, 3, that they don't really want to have those conversations. Are you seeing anything like that at this point? And are you planning for what people are saying is going to be a transition to the new technology?
Well, I think from a technology standpoint, the fact that we have employees literally all over the country doing work for us has allowed us the freedom to, work in two different communities. We were one of the first agencies to go paper light, not paperless. Obviously, we still use paper. I'm one of those old guys that likes to print off my contracts, review, and mark them up. But regarding the people that are just wanting to, click and pay, that's not our client, and it never will be. And if you think about those people that just want to click and pay, they just want whatever the base is. They're not really managing their risk properly. They're not asking for professional help. It's like the person that goes and gets their taxes done at H&R Block. That's fine. There are people out there that want the quick accountant. Hey, I'm going to let you do my taxes, but I use a very high level accountant, and I meet with my accountant on a quarterly basis. That's my approach to business, and it pays very big dividends. We're a very profitable, successful company because of the way we approach business. So that's who we're looking for. So regarding the people that they say are coming, the millennials that are only going to buy online, I always think there's going to be quality business owners, people that want to sit down and accept wise counsel, whether it be for insurance, whether it be for accounting, banking. The better businesses don't want to just click, buy. They want to talk. They want to be educated. They want to learn about what they don't know.
Spot On is sponsored by Insurance Licensing Services of America. Need help with corporate name changes, annual returns, or surplus lines tax filings? Feeling overwhelmed? If you're looking for experts in regulatory compliance, you've come to the right place. ILSA provides the industry with over 50 services. To learn more about the company and how they can help, visit ilsainc.com.
Our general manager, Russ Foster, has a great analogy when he's talking about the business that we've developed, which is a compliance business. He says, people have a choice when it comes to their car. they can they can wash the car themselves. They can go through a car wash and, drive through the car wash, or they can have their car detailed. And it's that level of service that you want and what you're willing to pay for it. Not everyone can afford our services, and that's fine. And it sounds like the same thing that you guys are building with the Thompson Group. I want to talk to you a little bit more about, this whole, the millennials and the insurtechs that are starting up today. And I know that both of you had your fathers pass down their respective agencies. And if you were passing down the Thompson agency, let's say to a family member or maybe a non-family member, what piece of advice would you give them? Because I think at some point, in your generation, which is the second generation of the agency, you can straddle both worlds, the traditional versus what's coming up. But what piece of advice would you give to a third generation in terms of all of the insurtechs that are coming into the market? How can they go toe-to-toe or beyond that?
Well, I think first and foremost, if there's one thing that we can pass down to the next generation is the understanding that your culture is by far the most important piece of your business. Without culture, you don't have teammates willing to help each other. You don't have teammates willing to, stretch to the next level. And, we over the years have, learned by trial and error, quite frankly, but we have established this great culture. And it wasn't just, it didn't just happen. We worked at it. The other thing that I would tell young people considering our business is, you can go out and get your insurance license, but that doesn't mean you understand insurance. So, we place a great deal of importance on our education. We place a great deal of importance on educating our people. In fact, we encourage all of our people to start working toward their insurance designations, and we pay for that. We even pay them a bonus if they pass the test. And for the CIC and the CRMs, there are 5 tests per designation, and we have almost all of our staff working toward their designations as we speak. Anson and I both are CICs and CRMs. And all I can say is that the better educated you are, the better you are with the client, because they're going to respect your knowledge, they're going to trust you, and let's face it, they're putting their business assets in our hands. So we need to understand the insurance forms and how to write them properly.
And it just shows stability. It shows that you're in it for the long run.
If I could talk about, what will be passed to the next generation, I think a couple things. First of all, if you are a business owner, I don't care if you're 25, 50, 75, you have to understand 3 things. You have to understand your income statement, your balance sheet, and your cash flow statement. And if you do not understand those things, you will never be successful. So that would be the first thing. It's very, very important at a young age to really own and understand your financial statements. The second thing I would say is, competing against the insurtechs and all those people out there, be different. We don't taste, we don't smell, we don't act like any other insurance firm in the world. And that allows us to vet people, because some people look at us and think, I would never hire those people to manage my insurance. And we say, thank you. But there are a lot of people that look at us and go, you know what, those guys look a little bit different. They sound a little bit different. And they invite us in. And once we're invited in, they hear about our process. We talk about our approach from a sales standpoint. How does that look? Here's our service approach. And a lot of people are finding that our difference, our point of difference, plays very well with how they want to do business.
Many years back, we ran into a philosophy that kind of solidified that for us as well. And we read a book called The Purple Cow. But the whole idea is, who wouldn't pay to go see a purple cow that gives purple milk, right? I mean, there would be lines outside that farm from all over. It'd be in all the newspapers. People would come from everywhere. And it's about being different. It's about not being like everybody else. Being at that purple milk better taste good, of course. It better have all the vitamins and nutrients and then some. But you do want to stand out. And the way to stand out is to be different, not to do everything that everybody else is doing. And it sounds like with some of the ideas that you have in marketing and some of the things that you've done in the past that you're on point.
We used my naked 70-year-old parents in a marketing campaign.
Wait, you're what?
So if I could share that story.
Yes, please.
So about 10 years ago, I ran a marketing program. This is before Jenny. That was my parents dressed up as Ward and June Cleaver. It was a black and white shot. And I used the tagline, 1950s customer service with 21st century attitude. The idea behind that is we're still the agency that comes to your kitchen table, comes to your business, we sit down and we talk. But behind us, we have this amazing technology. And so that campaign ran for a couple of years. And I started thinking about, we try to refresh everything every couple, 3 years. And so as that time was coming up, I had an idea. And the idea spurned from an event that happened in my county, Randolph County, Indiana. There was a courthouse that was going to be torn down. And there was some older ladies in their 70s playing bridge one day. And they did not want that courthouse torn down. They wanted to refurbish and make it beautiful. And so they had a plan that they were going to get naked, take a model of the courthouse and hold it in front of their downtown bonanza and their cash and prizes. And they were going to save the courthouse through the sale of calendars with these images. And we did. And today, if you go to Randolph County, Indiana, there is one of the most beautiful courthouses because these women put together a calendar of them naked and it's sold, and there's a documentary about it. So anyway, that was a big deal in our area. And so I started thinking about that. And in the insurance business, sometimes when we're talking to people, we'll say, with regards to this coverage, you're naked. And so I called my father and I said, hey, Dad, I got an idea. You and Mom, great program, the marketing you did before, but what would you think about doing something like the Calendar Girls and allow to photograph you and Mom naked, and then we would cover your downtown bonanza, your cash and prizes, with our logo? And my father started laughing and he said, I would do it, but your mother never would. And I said, okay, cool. So I called my mom, who was a big fan of the Calendar Girls. And I said, Mom, I've got an idea. Do you remember when Dad had the agency? He'd come home, we'd be at dinner, and he'd be talking about, Tom being naked. And she said, yeah. I said, I'd like to use that from a marketing standpoint. I want to launch like nakedinsurance.net, something like that. But I want you and Dad to get your photos taken naked, but holding, our logo. And that way we can use that in our marketing. And she started laughing and she said, I would do it, but your father never would.
Oh, you got them.
The end of the story is I called my buddy and I said, hey, I need to get some photos taken. He said, of what? I said, my parents naked. He goes, dude, I don't do that. I'm like, no, we're not really going to be naked. So anyway, you can find those images. Wayne and Linda Thompson, my beautiful parents, they were great sports, and I put them on billboards. We had a lot of fun with the Naked Insurance campaign.
Wow. Oh my gosh, we might use that picture for your podcast artwork.
Go right ahead.
That is super cool. That's amazing. So guys, tell me, what do you see in the pipeline for the Thompson Group?
Oh gosh. Well, again, we're building this next wave of agency owners internally. So in the future, I see, helping and developing these individuals. We're really proud of our team, and we know that we can do this by again perpetuating internally. That's what we want. That's what we want to do. I see Anson and I well, first of all, we're not leaving. Okay, we love what we do. We have a passion for what we do. Nobody's retiring. Why would we retire? I mean, we're having fun. We get to meet new people every single day. And so why would we leave? But I do see us again, working with that next generation, getting them in place, picking our next team and continuing to help them. Because again, these people are full of energy. They want to learn. They look at us and they want to do what we do, and we're happy to show them how to do that.
again, that it harkens back to something that we've done also. We've done that kind of transition as well, where we're transitioning our way to where we are propping folks up and saying, okay, you take over, you do this and you do that. And it's wonderful, number one, to see them grow. People who you worked with for 15 or 20 years taking over and working it. The other thing is it gives you an opportunity to be a leader. You know what it takes. It's good, instead of having that nose to the grindstone, picking your head up and being able to lead. Because we all know that when we started our businesses, we were running everything pretty much. And now it's an opportunity to look at the future, look at what's coming, study more ideas, kind of like what Anson was saying earlier. He was able to look up and see, wow, this thing in Indiana that happened, I want to be able to use this and put it in my ad. So that harkens to you having your head up and planning for your company. And it's work, but it's a different type of work.
So, I mean, you guys have built such an amazing agency, and you've obviously quite successful being the Purple Cow, being so different in the insurance industry, which was what drew us to you guys. But do you ever envision sharing that knowledge and how you were able to be successful? Do you envision ever being able to roll that out to future folks that are coming into the insurance industry?
Yes, that's a great question. Thank you. That was a softball. I appreciate it. In my insurance career, I got in 96 as an owner, 92 when I started. My passion is teaching and training, and it always has been. And so as at this point in the agency development, I am no longer considered a producer. I still have a book of business. I still have clients. However, all of the business that comes in is assigned to one of our other agents. And the reason is because I'm more of a sales manager, and all I do is train and help people personally develop. My dream and what I'm going to do in the next 3.5 to 4 years is I've already kind of put this together, but I'm going to start another company outside of the Thompson Group that does training for young agents all over the world, men and women. We will, by that time, live in Evergreen, Colorado. We will have a home that will accommodate, 3 to 5 young people that will be able to come out and do a 3-day boot camp. And the 3-day boot camp is not just about insurance. It's about prospecting. It's about living, not working. It's about how do you maximize your potential as a human being. Talk about leadership. I talk about getting involved in the communities. And so as agency owners out there hiring new people, I will charge a fee for them to send their people to me. And after 3 days, I will send them home. And then after that time, continually mentor them and work with them to not just be great insurance people, but to be great fathers, to be great leaders in their community. That's the future that I see. And then Jenny is going to continue her leadership role in the Thompson Group. I'm not leaving the Thompson Group. I'm always going to be there. But a couple times a month, whether it be in Mexico, whether it be in Florida, whether it be in Evergreen, Colorado, I will be hosting 3 to 5 young men and women and putting them through a boot camp that hopefully we can change the perception of when people hear the word insurance, they don't, feel bad, but they think joyful thoughts.
Oh my gosh, the boot camp sounds amazing, and it sounds like it's something that's needed right now. It sounds like you've already envisioned it so clearly. You might even have a name for it. You've already started thinking about names for this boot camp?
Well, yeah, I've already got the curriculum done. I'm tentatively going to do my first one as a free one. I've got some insurance agents that have shown some interest. The working, and it'll probably change, but the working title is Insurance Sherpa. I've always said I was a ninja for my clients, but I want to be a Sherpa for other insurance professionals. And so that's the working title. That's subject to change, but that's what I'm using right now.
Well, it sounds like you're going to be a wonderful guide to take them through that boot camp. And final question that I have for you is why Evergreen? Tell us a little bit about Evergreen, Colorado.
Well, I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan. I listen to Joe Rogan's podcast, The Guy Don't Miss It. And Joe has always talked about Evergreen, Colorado. And about 6 months ago, I was at a meeting and I met a man from Evergreen, Colorado. He is a wealth advisor. He also has a place in Indianapolis, Indiana. And so we were brought together because we both had homes in Indy and also out here. And he lived in Evergreen, Colorado. So the next day after we met, he called me and said, "Have you ever been to Evergreen?" And I said, "I have not." And he said, I want to give you a tour. And so I really didn't know what this guy did, but he took an interest in me. And so I drove to Evergreen, Colorado. It's about 30 minutes from the condo we live in and we're talking from right now. And I got a tour that day and was literally blown away by just the scenery, the community. And so we're in the process now of occasionally going there for the weekend, hanging out, learning the city. We were looking at Boulder, Colorado, and I'm not 100% we're going to Evergreen. I'm about 92%. We could end up in Boulder, but we just love Evergreen. The people, everybody, if you've ever been there, you know it's probably one of the most beautiful places in the world. But more importantly, the people that live there are some of the best people you'll ever meet in your life. So it's just have you guys ever read the book Atlas Shrugged?
No,
I have not.
Okay, well, it's an old book. It's a big book, but the idea is that the government gets involved in a lot of businesses, and the great people slowly but surely begin to leave, and they just disappear. And at the end of the book, you find out they go to some place called Gulch, which is where all the greatest minds go, and they create this little community of basically futuristic things that nobody else has because the best of the best went there. And that's how I view Evergreen, Colorado.
We've gone to Evergreen. We've actually done some horseback riding in the mountains in the winter there. We really, really enjoyed it. As a matter of fact, you walk away from there, and now we're in Puerto Rico, but we have friends that actually live here in Puerto Rico and they're in Colorado, and we talk to them about it all the time. And they spend 6 months here and 6 months there, and they absolutely love it. And our experience has been absolutely the same as yours. When we've gone there, we've absolutely loved spending 2 and 3 weeks at a time there.
We're able to go there, and within probably about 40-mile radius, or maybe even less, we have like 5 to 7 clients in that area. So it's so amazing to go to such a beautiful part of the country and be able to work and meet our clients face to face. So can't wait till you guys are there. Who knows? Maybe we'll stop in and check you guys out when you're running the boot camp.
Come visit. And obviously at that time we'll still be doing the Thompson Group, but that'll be my fun project to be able to watch people personally and professionally grow. So I'm looking forward to that.
Guys, thank you so much for being on Spot On Insurance. For our circle of insurance professionals listening to us today, how do they get in touch with you if they have questions? Because you guys gave some amazing information on running a business, on how to be different from everybody else. And I'm sure that there are some people out there would like to get more information. How would they go about doing that?
The best place to find us is the ThompsonGroup.net. That's the ThompsonGroup.net. That's the ThompsonGroup.net. We just kind of updated. We're always focused on keeping our web presence fresh. So you can find us there. We're on LinkedIn. I'm a writer, so I write every day. I throw out information. I've got 9 books on Amazon. So LinkedIn is a big place for us as well. That's where I publish all my material. And then once you get to the website, we're very easy access. If you want to talk to the Queen or myself, if you call the office, they send you right through to our cell phones. So we don't hide from people, I promise you. And we're very open with how we do business and the forms and some of the policies and procedures that we've developed, because we think we have cracked the code. We think that we have just, from an operational standpoint, policies and procedure standpoint, culture standpoint, people, process, product, pipeline, we have figured out all of those things. And if you look at our financials, we can prove it to you.
I think you're going to get a couple of calls.
I think so too. Definitely, it would be worth it to get the advice that you guys have to share with others. Usually in closing, we ask for one piece of advice that you can share with someone that's entering the industry, but I just want to go to one of the quotes that I have heard from you. I've seen it in a magazine, and it is, We're having a hell of a good time. And the best part is that we don't work, we live. You couldn't ask for anything better than that. I want to thank you guys so much. You have been inspirational, so giving of your time and information. Anson, Ross, and Jenny, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks, you guys. Great job. Really appreciate it.
Visit spotoninsurance.com, where you'll discover an ever-growing library of podcasts, videos, articles, and online tools by professionals for professionals to enhance your insurance education. By the way, that's where you'll also find our podcast notes and bonus resources. Please don't forget to click the iTunes link to rate and review, and let others know what you think of Spot On Insurance. Thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you next week.